Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and another video. Today I'm going to be doing a football boot review that is very overdue. And in this boot review, I'm going to be looking at the Nike Mercurial Vapor 15, more aptly known as the Nike Zoom Mercurial Vapor 15 Elite. I have it here in this pink luminous colorway. It dropped towards the end of last season and it looks amazing. But this isn't the only vapor I'll be reviewing because as well, I'll be taking a look at the Nike Zoom Mercurial Vapor 15 Elite in the Soft Ground Pro variation. So yeah, most of the review will be focused on the pink version or the luminous pack one rather than the stealth pack one. But when it comes to the outsole, you'll see a lot more of this boot because that's the major difference between the two. So anyways, yeah, just to give some housekeeping about the two boots. Basically, this one is the cheaper variant. This one's the more expensive one because of the stud plate. Before, they cost around $330, and then this would cost $340. But now this vapor costs $340 and this one costs $350. I don't know why Nike decided to increase the price, but you know, Nike, it's what they do. Now this is also the 15th vapor in the series since the Mercurial was introduced, and it goes alongside the Nike Mercurial Superfly 9 Elite, both with their soft ground and their firm ground version. So yeah, this is the firm ground. Once again, this is the soft ground. And basically how I'm going to look at these boots is through 6 lenses. Like my Phantom Luna boot review, I'm going to consider the upper, the sole plate, the fit and comfort, the lockdown, durability, and the performance of the boots. So I can give you guys an objective opinion of how well these are, both in terms of performance and for your feet. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this review. So beginning with the upper, this is what Nike likes to call Vaporposite Plus. You can see it here, and it's the exact same on the Soft Ground Pro variation, said there in white. Vaporposite Plus is basically a slight tweaking of the Vaporposite upper that was found on the previous gen Nike Mercurial Vapor 14 and Nike Superfly 8 Elite. In terms of like actual differences between the two, I wouldn't say there's much difference. They're both pretty soft out of the box and after break-in. It's not going to look as soft today because it's pretty cold. So, you know, how cold makes things shrink and feel more rigid and stuff like that. So that's what you're going to see here when I'm doing touching the upper and stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see, it's a super thin textile layer, synthetic, layered on top of like a small inner cage. You can see it, you can kind of see it here. Like right here is where the cage is, and this is a little hollow. If I go inside the boot right there, you can see that internal structure cage. And you can see it's just a really thin layer of that textile upper on top. Like I said, it's super soft, it's super thin, and it's super pliable, which means that when you're using these boots, you're going to have a very barefoot touch on the ball because of how soft and thin these are. That said, though, because of how thin they are, if you get stepped on, it's going to hurt. It's to be expected with most football boots. I mean, if any boot, you'll get stepped on and it's going to hurt. But just because of how thin and pliable these are, it'll hurt a lot more. In terms of the previous gen Vaporposite upper, this is just slightly, and I mean slightly softer. It's not really that noticeable in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're switching between the two boots. But I guess like it depends on people's preferences. It's just that slightly bit softer. So if you enjoy that, then you'll probably enjoy these. Another thing to notice with this upper is that the toe box is raised compared to the Superfly 8 Elite or the Vapor 14 Elite. So that on those boots, the toe box used to go more like that. Like it was a lot flatter. This one, you can see it kind of rises up a little more. And I guess that's to accommodate more feet and more big toes and stuff like that, which we'll get into like a part of the boot that I really want to highlight, which is the comfort of this vapor. But we'll get there when we get to that part of the boot. So yeah, this upper is amazing, and I'm pretty sure I rate it as a 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. But yeah, I'll be sure to correct that in the subheadings when I'm done with this. So yeah, upper 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. So next, we're going to look at the outsole. And now this is where the whole name of the Mercurial now comes into play. So you can see it says Air Zoom right here, and it's the same thing on this other vapor that I have, Air Zoom. So the big thing with both vapors, not just this one, the outsole itself is a different story, but the main difference or the main similarity between the two is this Air Zoom tech that's here. Inside, if I take out the insole from my right boot, you'll see this like foot-shaped, I don't know, cage, support thing, whatever you want to call it. And this is actually a 3/4 length zoom unit. Now, this is super innovative and effective at inducing comfort in people who are wearing the boot because it actually just feels like you're running on a cloud. Essentially, if you've had any of those like Nike runners that have air zoom technology in them, or I don't know, you've played with like bubble wrap or like a nice spongy cushion or like something that has like a lot of like give to it but bounces back. That's basically what you're gonna get with these boots. Essentially, when you're running or you're walking or you're stepping, you're compressing against that zoom unit, but it's also pushing up against you. So it feels more like you're walking on like a bubble or like a bubble wrap. And essentially, that's what this is. It's just a giant bubble that runs from your toe all the way to about here where your rear foot would be. Like I said, it's super insane, like how amazing this is. Um, Actually, when I first tried these on, I was like, okay, it's like whatever. Air Zoom Tech isn't that great, and that was my initial thought because I actually got this pair of the Vapor first, and for reasons I'll get into in a moment, this made me not like Air Zoom Tech at all. But so when I decided to get the FG pair so I could try out the Air Zoom technology, I was like, okay, it's not that crazy. But after about like 10 minutes into the session, I started to notice that feeling. Like when you step, you actually notice that bubble, like just rebounding off your foot and like pushing you back up. And it's actually such an incredibly comforting and unique feeling that like there's nothing on the market that gives a feeling similar to these. And I've used these for matches, I've used them for practices, and I can say it contributes to one of the most comfortable on-feet experiences when you're playing in these boots. So yeah, Air Zoom unit is super amazing and super effective. Getting to the tooling of the boots, as I said before, this is the FG pair. So it has what is this? 4, 6, 11. It has 11 studs. Um, Before, if you guys would remember on the Superfly 8 Elite or the Vapor 14 Elite, what they had was the chevron bladed studs, and they would go all the way down the sole. But now, what Nike decided to do for the Vapor 15 was they got rid of the chevrons and introduced these tri-stars. You have 4 of them right here, and these are supposed to help with not just forward sprinting or directional speed, but also with like multi-directional speed, so changing directions, twisting and pivoting. And it's super aggressive, but also not that aggressive, if that makes sense, because these are not, they're sharp, but they're not like fully bladed, if that makes any sense. You also have 2 support studs right here. You have a toe pick stud right here and a little lateral support stud right there as well. Excuse my sniffles. It's actually really cold out here doing this review, but yeah. And then back here, you have your 2 chevron studs right here. You have 1, 2, and these are closer together to provide a pretty good base of support. Another major thing to mention with these is, while this is the Air Zoom unit, it was a big controversy because before the Nike Mercurial Superfly 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, as well as the Vapor 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, all featured something called the anatomical sole plate. So basically, the sole was engineered in a way that when you stepped into the boots, it would mold to your foot and stay like fitted to that for the rest of the time that you wore the boots. I have 3 pairs of Superfly 8, so I have that. I have extensive experience with this anatomical sole plate, and it really does the job. It's super effective. So when they switched to this Air Zoom unit, I was really skeptical. I was like, is this going to be much better than the anatomical sole plate? Because that just fit my foot really well and made it super comfortable, despite the fact that I have wide feet. It just accommodated them really well. So I was really skeptical about these at first. And like I said, my initial experience with the first pair of Vapors and even with these was not great. But after using these, I could say this was a very welcome change from the anatomical sole plate because there's just something about that spring back and that cushion, that bounce effect that you get from the Air Zoom unit that you cannot get from those previous Superflies or Vapors. And I really welcome the way this was constructed. Now, the part where I want to bring up the Soft Ground Pro variation and why I hated Air Zoom Tech so much in the beginning is not necessarily because of these boots. It's more because of the environment that I'm playing at. So in Canada, where I live, most of the fields are permafrost at around this time of year. It's November, so even when it rains, the ground is not very soft. It's still kind of thick and hard, and that makes it really difficult for studs to dig in, regardless of what kind of stud pattern you're using. With soft ground cleats, you want to use them on soft ground, soft mud, because that they will dig into that very easily, and they'll also lose like some of the mud like pretty easily as well. As you can see with these, if I take this and compare the studs, like if I hold them here, you can see that these metal studs are just that slight bit longer than these pink ones that are on my pink FG pair. And because of the length of these studs and the hardness of the ground, even though you're still getting the same springback effect from the Air Zoom unit, it's not enough to compensate for the amount of stud pressure you're getting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 studs are too long to be able to play on the grass that I have in my area, even when it's raining and soaking wet. So this Air Zoom effect that I'm supposed to be experiencing, I don't end up getting from these boots. And because I didn't have like this pair came out in I think August 2022, August or September 22. That's when this black stealth pack dropped. These luminous pair dropped in April 2023, March or April or May 2023. So that's almost like 8 9 months difference, I'm pretty sure. And because of that, this was the only kind of experience I had to go off of for the Nike Mercurial Vapor 15 with the Air Zoom unit, and that's why I had such a negative experience or feeling towards it. But now, after trying out this pink pair, I totally understand that like the Air Zoom is really legit. It's the surfaces we have to play on here that just make it more difficult. So yeah. In terms of like rating these, the Air Zoom unit is a 10 out of 10. And another thing that's really cool with these is they're called anti-clog soft ground pro, right? As you can see, I don't know if it's going to show that well, but it says anti-clog. And basically this Soleplate has a coating on it that makes it super slick, and when water is poured on top of it, when you're running on mud, no mud will stick to it. So even with like traditional soft ground pro cleats, you'll be able to run with them on mud, but the mud will like cling to the boots. But with this coating, as long as you hydrate the sole plate, all mud will slide off, making your boots infinitely lighter than someone who's playing and they have mud stuck to their cleats. So that's another great benefit with this sole plate, despite the fact that I can't really use it that well on mud and dirt. With all of that said, like I said, Soleplate is absolutely amazing. It gets a 10 out of 10 for me, specifically for the FG model. This one, I've had like very few instances where I could use it and really get the air zoom unit effect. So I'm not going to fault it because of the surfaces that I have to play on. I'd still say it does the job well. This will be like a 9 out of 10 for the soft ground pro variation, and then this is a 10 out of 10 for the FG variation. So yeah, let's get into the fit and comfort now. Fit wise, this is probably the widest Mercurial Vapor that you will ever see since the Vapor was introduced back in 1998. Nike has gone with a much wider last. You can kind of see from this toe box, it's a lot wider than what you used to get with something like a Vapor 10 or a Vapor 11, where it would narrow off towards like this instep, and right here it would just taper off. Now it's just a lot wider, and I know that I've broken these in, but even when they're not broken in, you can kind of see they're just wider in general. You have more volume in the toe box, which allows for more room for people's big toes and stuff if they have wide feet. And even like on the widest points of my feet, you can see there's not that much stretch on either side of the boot, which tells you that they're accommodating my foot really well. In terms of the heel area, it's very no nonsense. You can see just really soft padding. If it will focus, yeah, super soft padding, very thin. The only thing I will complain about is that on the Vapor, and this is something that Nike's done with most of their models, but the Vapor, compared to the Superfly, it has a wider opening for you to put your foot in. So if I have a Superfly 9 Elite, which I actually do, and I will be dropping a review of those, so stay tuned because they're a pretty sick pair. But yeah, so like this opening is a lot wider, which helps with putting the boots on. But in terms of lockdown, you'll see you'll have more space between your ankle and the boots, which is not the greatest. If you're wearing grip socks like I do all the time, then you're not really going to notice it. But if you're wearing like normal socks, that can be an issue. And like here, I have a turf pitch, so if you're running around, turf pellets will fall into your boots a lot easier, which can be annoying. You have to take them off and take the pellets out. But beyond that, like I said, this is super wide, or I wouldn't say super wide, but it's wide enough to accommodate pretty much any foot type without causing discomfort. And even if you are very wide footed, and if you take some time to break these in, I think you'll be fine after using them. Because like for me, I have 2 pairs, and both of them, they fit me really well. It's only when I don't use my Vapors for a while because of my boot rotation that I'll notice a little bit of discomfort, just because, if you don't use something for a while, it'll start to deform back to its original state. So you always got to keep using it. But when these are in constant rotation, they fit absolutely amazingly. I can move my feet around with ease, but it's not too much to where I feel like I'm loose in the boots. The lockdown is perfect with these. Perfect amount of room in the toe, perfect amount of width. And the heel, it just gives you enough freedom to move, but without feeling too loose. So yeah, For the fit and comfort on these, oh yeah, obviously I just didn't talk about the comfort, but the comfort on these is amazing. Like I said, you have enough freedom in the boot to where you don't feel like you're being too squeezed or too wrapped. And I guess depending on how you like your boots to fit, that will be more important or less important to you. But to me, I don't want to feel like I'm being crushed in my boot. I want to feel locked in, but like also feel good at the same time. And then the Air Zoom unit, of course, when you're walking around, when you're stepping, it does the job, makes you feel super comfortable underfoot. So you can use these for a whole session and you'll be perfectly fine and feel great after. You know that feeling when you want to take off your boots after a session? I don't think I get that with these because they're just so comfortable. So yeah, fitting comfort, 10 out of 10. In terms of lockdown, again, laces, and because they are mercurials, they do fit pretty tightly around the foot. But obviously, like I said, in the fit and comfort portion, they're not too tight to where it's uncomfortable, but they just wrap your foot really well and make you feel locked in and comfortable when you're running on the foot. Um, like I said, the heel area is a little bit wide compared to the Superfly, so that could be an issue for lockdown if you're wearing non-grip socks. But if you have a wide ankle, you may not even notice it. I have a more narrow, slim ankle, so it's something that I do notice, all that space between my sock, my ankle, and the boot. But because I wear grip socks, it doesn't really affect me that much in terms of the lockdown. So for that, these pretty straightforward. They're going to get a 9 out of 10 for lockdown. Durability wise, these boots are really good. They're really well constructed. If I'm looking at my soft ground pairs, there's no sole separation coming up. Um, Maybe a little bit of wear to the Vaporposite upper, but it's not very noticeable. But like I said, no sole separation. A little bit of flaking on the sole, but that comes with the territory, and they're not breaking down anytime soon. The only thing I can say is like on my collar, like right here, this is starting to fray a bit, which is kind of annoying, but you don't really notice it. Yeah, this is starting. This is like I think part of my grip sock that got caught on my collar, but yeah, you can see it's not really breaking at all. The heel pillows, they're still well intact. They're just a little worn out from color fade, just from all the training I've done, and they've also got a little bit of turf and dirt stains just because these are used for soft ground. But yeah, if I get the other pair, same sort of issue, just that fraying on the collar, but apart from that, everything else is in order. No sole separation. Yeah, they look good. Laces are fine. No upper damage or degradation, so that's good. If I get my FG pair, again, no sole separation, just some dirt and scuffing damage, I guess. Well, not really damage, just scuffing. No sole separation around the entire boot, just like some little plastic fraying here and there. And then on this boot, you can see I have some turf stains. This is from like striking knuckleballs all the time because you're always dragging a boot like this. So it's going to take a lot, most of the turf staining there. Air Zoom units on both boots are perfectly fine. The insoles are fine. They're just, the branding's going to wear off from use, of course. And again, with these, the pillows are fine. And the collars, no fraying. They're both all in really good condition. So, yeah, durability on these, have to say it's a 10 out of 10. Absolutely nothing to complain about. And I think they're going to last me a pretty long time. So, yeah, gotta appreciate them. Finally, just considering performance, both of these are incredible. I have pretty much no gripes with them. I'm gonna look at these based off of like their use on a properly soft ground pitch, and these are amazing. I had tons of grip thanks to these long metal studs, and I poured water on the boots, like the sole plates, before using them. So, like I said, the slick traction worked really well. They didn't like pick up any mud or hold on to any mud like a lot, so that was good. Oh wow, huh? I guess that is my first bit of damage on these right there. Okay, maybe durability. I don't know. Now I'll leave durability as a 10 out of 10 because this one is still really good. But yeah, no mud holding onto the boots. You can just see there's like a little bit of dirt stains and stuff, but that's about it. On both boots, the Air Zoom unit is just super good at giving you that spring back and that cushion effect so you feel comfortable. But when you're sprinting, it's also very responsive. The sole plates themselves, they're made with very durable, very springy plastic. So they give you a nice spring back effect here on the Vapor. Good spring back, like It's just really good. The traction on the FG pair, super aggressive, very good for natural grass and even like soft grass. But even on artificial grass, it's not too aggressive to where you feel like you're gonna get stuck and like hurt yourself when you're twisting and pivoting. At least in my opinion, some people have said that it is too aggressive, but each person has a different preference for what they like with aggressiveness on a sole plate. The boots are the lightest in the range of Nike's boots. This will be the lightest soft ground pair you can get, and this will be the lightest firm ground pair you can get. I'm not exactly sure the weight in a size 11, which is what I wear, but all I do know is that this is first, and then I think the Phantom GX low comes in after that. So yeah, super lightweight, very thin, soft, pliable uppers. Very, and that because of that thinness, you feel very connected to the ball when you're dribbling. Lots of touch on the ball. There's no grip elements to these. Like there is this kind of like texturing, but they're not really going to provide that much grip. So it's a more of a slick finish. They have ACC, all conditions control. I mean, yeah, that just does what it does. You can't really see it. So that's ACC. They also have fly knit tongues for the tongue construction, and these synergize really well with the upper to create a nice wrapped, locked in fit that you're going to enjoy whenever you're playing with them. And it's super soft to the touch. Yeah, not much more I can say. When you're shooting, when you're passing, you just feel really connected to the ball. Um, when you're dribbling, when you're juggling, it's a great experience. These just feel absolutely amazing. And I could go on and on about how great they are, but you guys get the point. Like performance, 9.5 out of 10. I think maybe like when you're first starting out, they can be a little annoying to get used to, especially if you're coming from a knit boot, because the synthetic does have a little bit of a stiffness to it compared to something that's fly knit or like Puma's knit or like whatever it is. But in general, just super comfortable, very lightweight, very close to the ball. Just an excellent experience overall. You guys are going to love these if you get them. So I'll give them a 9.5 out of 10. So yeah, guys, what are my final thoughts on the Nike Zoom Mercurial Vapor 15 Elite, both in the soft ground and the firm ground? You can't go wrong with these. Like I said in the performance review, they're very comfortable on foot when you're running around. They have excellent traction both when you're twisting, pivoting, sprinting. The touch on the ball is super barefoot and super reliable, and they look cool. Like just look at these, especially the pink pair. I love the way this pink pair looks. But yeah, in my overall rating, they get a 9.75 out of 10, which is almost a perfect 10. Like, if they just fix some of the lockdown issues, I think that would be great, just with this like wider like heel area. But apart from that, these boots are absolutely perfect. And keep in mind, this is for me. You may not enjoy these as much as I do, but for me personally, these boots are absolutely perfect. Just to give you guys a little bit of the competition that these face, you have the Puma Ultra Ultimate. You have the Adidas X Crazy Fast Plus, point 0.1 and point 0.1 LL. You have the Mizuno Alpha, the Mizuno Morelia Neo 4 Beta, I think they're on. Yeah, the 4 Beta. You also have the New Balance Furon V7 Pro. Uh, yeah, those are the main ones that you're going to see competing with these vapors. But like I said, these are just absolutely insane. They're perfect. They're probably the pinnacle of the speed boot line right now, and especially the way that they are so in tune with comfort would make them the obvious go-to choice for anyone looking for a speed boot that's super comfortable, especially if you have wide feet. I'd say if you have wide feet, maybe check out the New Balance Furon V7 Pro as well. But yeah, these you can't go wrong. They're absolutely incredible. They're absolutely fantastic, amazing, and I will probably stock up on a few more pairs of these or the Superfly 9 Elite just because that zoom unit is amazing and the width is perfect for my foot. So before they drop and go to the next model, which I'm pretty sure will be dropping during Euro 2024, I'm going to get as many pairs of these as I can and just stock up so I can use these as my main game boots when I'm playing around or even like when I'm training for fun. So yeah, just another reminder. These are about $340 Canadian if you're interested in them, and these are about $350 Canadian. Um, Pretty pricey, but you won't regret them. They have great durability and will last you a pretty good amount of time as long as you take good care of them. And yeah, just look after them, look after yourself. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching this review. Stay tuned for more reviews to come. I think I have one for a Superfly 8 Elite in the Progress Pack colorway. Got to review those Tiempo Legend 10s and the Phantom GXs. And like I said, I have a Superfly 9 video on the way as well that you guys are really going to enjoy because of the colorway that I got it in. So yeah, stay tuned for those. Stay tuned for more training sessions And if you like this kind of content, go check out my Instagram and my TikTok for more short form content, unboxings, training videos, more fun stuff, and just see what you do, see what you like, and go from there. Like, comment, unsubscribe on this my channel. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think of the boots, how you feel about them, whether you think I missed anything in my review, etc., etc. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.